Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Wednesday, October 4th. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Maryland game is in 3 days. The game against Michigan in 52 days. All right, we got to talk one more time about the Notre Dame game. I know the Maryland game is in 3 days, but there's been a lot to talk about. And our buddy Ross Fulton has joined us. I think this is the fourth time we've talked about something related to that game. But man, oh man, Ross, it was quite a game. There was a lot of drama, and there was a lot, I think, Ohio State get maybe stressed in a few different ways they hadn't been stressed before. So there's a little more stuff to talk about. Let's start right at the beginning of the game. We're talking the passing attack this week, or today at least. And, let's start right off the top of the game. First drive, this is a third down play, and I'm sure everyone's going to remember this as the one where the ref got absolutely leveled. So, all right, let's start with this. It's a nice completion to Cade Stover. Were they intentionally using the ref as a pick on this one, or was that just like a happy accident?
I think that's a happenstance, but you do know that ref is going to be there in the middle of the field, and so hey, use what you got. But I think the bye week's a good opportunity here to sort of assess, Kyle McCord specifically, the passing game more generally. I think what's working, what can improve on. In this play, even putting aside the ref pick is a good encapsulation. So, to back it up a bit, this is a third down play. Notre Dame on the night ran quite a bit of man coverage, but they would run, as they did here, some Tampa 2 on third down. So you see Ohio State using a concept against that, like this another Ryan Day statement you saw. Our friend Justin Whitlock noted post game. Ryan Day used a lot of air raid concepts against Notre Dame. So you saw a lot of curl, a lot of wide cross, mesh routes. This is all curl, and I do think this play sort of, and a lot of motion to diagnose whether it's man or zone, but kind of encompasses both some good things about Kyle McCord and maybe like an area where like there's some room for improvement. So like right away, cover 2, he sees the Mike vacate, hits Cade Stover for an easy first down. He's very good at like going through his progression quickly. He gets the ball out quickly. He does not hold it, which I think generally is a good thing. However, if there's some examples, and this is one of them to some extent, and we'll show another one later even more, but like there are times where some of this is just probably playing the position, but like if he holds it a little bit longer, like Marvin Harrison in particular is someone who's suffering a little bit from this tendency because they tend to use Harrison on deeper routes, take a bit more time. So like you see here, like, yes, he hits Stover for a short completion. It turns into a bigger one because of the ref, but like if you waited just a hitch longer, Harrison comes open on a deep curl. And so, there's some good and the bad. I don't think you want to discourage a young quarterback from, getting the ball out and getting positive yardage and obviously down, but like it is something where, it's maybe limiting their explosiveness in the past.
All right. And I have a feeling that this next one is one of the other ones you were talking about there, sort of in reference to, maybe waiting just a hair longer to let something come open downfield. This is in the second quarter. You're going to see Kyle McCord take a look downfield. It looks like he kind of pumps a little bit, like maybe he's thinking about it, and then he decides, no, discretion is the better part of valor. Tucks it, runs, has a nice little pickup, gets maybe 5 yards, something like that. But I'm getting the sense that we might be about to talk about another opportunity that was downfield that maybe just if you just wait another second or so, it's you got a bigger play than 5 yards.
Exactly. So he had a couple of these, particularly earlier in the game. I don't know if coincidence or not, they came up when Ohio State did some different things with personnel to get some matchups. So earlier drive, they had one where they ran a mesh on third down. They put Travion Henderson. They basically flipped Travion Henderson and Emeka Buka such that Henderson ran the shallow cross and Abuka ran a quick flat route. And I frankly think both were open and McCord didn't pull the trigger here similarly. So they do a short motion such that Harrison starts out on the outside and becomes the slot receiver and they stack. And they just do this it's just some window dressing to run, which is another Ryan Day staple, which is a sail concept. So outside receiver goes vertical. The slot receiver runs a deep out. And then you have a third receiver coming underneath in the flat. And, as you can see, is particularly from the replays that were helpfully provided for this play from the game, the Harrison is open. Like that's open out of his break. I don't know if McCord maybe felt a little bit of the interior pressure and decided he couldn't step into the throw. But I just think that these are the plays again where I think there's some room for improvement, pushing the football down the field, which I think is somewhat responsible for Harrison's relative lack of production compared to some expectations. Like, I do think, Notre Dame, definitely there were times where they bracketed him. He's had some unfortunate situations between the Indiana game where he was called for going out of bounds, and the ref said they were wrong about that. I think in this game, in the Notre Dame game, that catch should not have been overturned, putting all these things together. But I do think there's some additional opportunities downfield that they did not hit. However, I think McCord, the good news from Ohio State perspective is I think you continue to see signs of improvement. That's both game to game and even within game, obviously, as occurred in this game, and he made it happen when he needed to, obviously.
One example of him making it happen when he needed to, and I mean really needed to, was on that last drive of the game. It's 4th and 7. He throws it to Julian Fleming, and he does one of my least favorite things for any college football quarterback to do, which is throw it short of the sticks on 4th down. But he threw it in exactly the right spot where he gave Fleming the chance to kind of keep going. If he had thrown it, just hadn't led him the way he did, he probably gets stopped short of the sticks. Instead, he hits Fleming in stride. Fleming picks up the first down, and I don't want to say the rest is history because we've got 2 more plays from that drive to talk about. But before we get to those 2 plays, let's talk about what was a little bit close for comfort, picking up a 4th and 7.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they got what they wanted here, right? And if you go back and watch the game, like, you can see Ryan Day on the sidelines before this play talking to Julian Fleming. I think they knew that's where the ball would likely go. They got the matchup they wanted. So again, Notre Dame's in cover 1. Ohio State's running another mesh concept. So, like, again, there were complaints, generalized complaints about the play calling. I guess that always happens when there's not as many points scored. But, like, Ohio State used a lot of really solid passing concepts in this game. And this is another example. Like, they know they're going to get cover 1. They run this at a deeper, though, depth to get the rub they want because they're in this bunch set to the boundary. Notre Dame has to basically, it's called playing lock and level. So you'll see like the 3 defensive backs are at different levels so that they don't run into each other. But by doing that, that means that Fleming, when he runs a shallow cross, the Notre Dame corner has to chase him from depth. So that gives you the separation you need. And then obviously Harrison's route puts a pick on him. And so, yes, it's short of the sticks a little bit, but Fleming's big and strong. And obviously McCord put in the right spot. And like, again, so when you're talking about like, McCord really on these like intermediate routes is really strong. Like, he will deliver it right on the right spot. Hit an earlier one, like on a big 3rd down to Emeka Egbuka on a knife concept, a little, slant underneath a vertical route where he like put it right on the money before Notre Dame on a creeper pressure tried to drop into the zone. So like, you see him particularly on these, or like the Xavier Johnson, where he quickly read that like Notre Dame was blitzing and he got it right to him. Like, I think there's, he provides his receivers a lot of opportunities for runs after the catch and gets the ball out, which is, again, largely a good thing. He's not like someone he's not Patrick Mahomes or Caleb Williams. It's going to like improvise in the pocket a bunch. Like, he did make some plays getting out of trouble and staying up. But, I think he knows that his strength is in, trying to diagnose what's going on and getting the football out. All
right. And then next up, we're going to just move we're going to move you a little further in the action, as they say in those Big Ten football in 60 kind of shows. Later in this drive, this is another one where they hit. This is a nice throw. Marvin Harrison makes a great play. This is one where I was watching through the camera lens and he threw it and I'm going, who on earth is he throwing it to? And then Marvin Harrison goes flying in like a superhero, makes a really nice catch down inside the 15 that helped set up the winning score. This is one of those cases where anytime you can throw the ball to Marvin Harrison, good things are probably going to happen.
Yeah, and the good thing about these clips is they're serving multiple purposes for me, right? So I get to show some of the concepts that Ohio State was using throughout the game, as well as McCord and the offensive development. So again, mentioned earlier Y cross. So this is another Y cross, and Notre Dame's actually in a cover 3 here. And so the principal read, you can see from McCord how he's pointed. He's actually, his number 1 read is to Emeka Egbuka on this. It's called Y cross, but it's like a deeper crossing route. And he sees that Notre Dame's basically has like 2 buzz defenders, like, so both their safeties drop into this middle zone right around the 20-yard line. And so they're basically expecting Ohio State to target the middle of the field in this way. So McCord does a nice job working back to this deep dig route to Harrison, which is basically an add-on to the route. It's not kind of the principal read. And so again, yeah, and then he obviously fits it in there, and Harrison makes a great catch, even though he had a bum ankle. And so again, you see that development, for a young quarterback, like obviously things to improve on, but it's not like he's locking onto receivers or forcing the football. I mean, there's, a couple throws that he maybe forced it, but he is trying to find the open receiver, almost to a fault. There's probably times where he could throw it up to Marvin Harrison and, make a play, but I think he's very focused on, figuring out what the defense is giving him and taking the football there. And, also I should add that for, as much as focus there's been in the run game, like the offensive line did a nice job in pass protection for the most part. Notre Dame throws a bunch of pressures out, particularly in this last drive, different types of, 4 and 5 man pressures. And, there's obviously some pressure, but I thought Ohio State did a nice job handling it overall.
And another spot where Ohio State did a great job handling the pressure was the play that got it down to the 1 yard line. That was about the most big boy throw I think you saw Kyle McCord make all night long, and he did it in a real big boy spot too, where they would, you're in the final seconds of the game. You absolutely had to drive the ball down the field to set yourself up to get a couple of cracks at the end zone. I knew that, which means Notre Dame knew that, and Kyle McCord still found Emeka Egbuka down there. This was maybe the single biggest play of the game for Ohio State. So walk us through it.
Yep, absolutely. And again, another Ryan Day, Ohio State favorite concept. So you got all verticals here. And, again, the throw that obviously Day's pointing this out, others pointed out, the key for both Egbuka and McCord is Egbuka settles down and McCord does not lead him into the coverage. At first, I think he was looking at Stover actually down the seam, but he got rerouted. And so he, again, worked his way over. But yeah, I mean, these are just straight throws and clutch situations. And obviously, again, these are examples as well of him pushing the football down the field vertically more. And, so to the extent he can do that, I think that's going to really open up things in the offense.
All right. So we already talked about some of the short yardage running situations. So we've talked about the winning touchdown already. You can go back and find that on one of the previous episodes of this show. And if you heard us talking about clips and you're listening to this on the podcast and going, what are they talking about? Well, good news. You can find all of these on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Buckeye Huddle. We've included some of the highlights, replays, different angles to kind of show you really what Ross is talking about, so you can really understand better what we're breaking down here. That's at our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Buckeye Huddle. And if you want to get an early look at these, we tend to try to record these a day or two early so we can post them on the Huddle board, which is members only at BuckeyeHuddle.com. You can get a chance to see this a little bit early and then get a chance to ask Ross questions. We've got Ross and Justin and Mikey and Devin, all of our X's and O's guys tend to jump in those threads and answer questions. And, the goal is to make you a smarter football fan, help you understand what you're watching a little bit more. So then you can talk to your friends about Y-Cross at tailgates or as you're watching the game in your house, and they can go, wait, what? Where did you hear that? And you can say, oh, I have a smart football friend named Ross, and he told me all about it. So you can find us at BuckeyeHuddle.com. You can find us at youtube.com/BuckeyeHuddle. So hopefully you guys are enjoying these as much as I'm enjoying putting these together for you. And we're putting in Ross and I working together and put these all together. So that will do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.